A Fox News alert, Antifa's getting revenge.
This is the Cop City site. Construction vehicles are up in flames. It's like a trailer for the construction crew, about to be up in flames.
That was day one of Antifa's week of action. This has been simmering for months. Antifa was living in tree houses in the woods where police were building their new training center in Georgia. They called themselves the Forest Defenders. They say they're protesting environmental racism, but really it's about getting rid of cops. Antifa doesn't care about the environment. I haven't seen them in East Palestine, and we haven't seen them at the Jersey Shore protesting windmill whale murder. When police started kicking the Forest Defenders out of the trees, one of their members, known as Little Turtle, Tortuguita, started shooting at cops. A state trooper was seriously wounded, and Little Turtle was killed. And now Antifa is avenging Little Turtle's death. Antifa hid inside a group of peaceful protesters outside the construction site. They had comedy shows, music festivals. They even gave tours of the forest. And that's when things started turning mostly peaceful. Then 150 Antifa militants peeled off, changed into camouflage clothing and black masks, and stormed the construction site. The Antifa militants chucked bricks and Molotov cocktails at police, lit construction equipment ablaze. This was a highly organized attack, and it won't be the last. Antifa is getting stronger. They're international.
This is a national network, an international group of people that are organized to come to our state to undermine a public safety training center. All but 2 were from out of state, and 23 individuals have been charged with domestic terrorism.
More Antifa came from out of the country than from Georgia. One Antifa was from France, the other was from Canada. The rest were homegrown. An organized group with foreign nationals plotted and launched a sophisticated attack on police. Where was the FBI? This had been months in the making. You're saying Antifa is the only organization in the United States that the FBI doesn't have undercovers in? Here are the mugshots. Thomas Jurgens went to Oxford University. He's a lawyer for the Southern Poverty Law Center. You know, the group that makes a living calling conservatives extremists. They had a domestic terrorist on their payroll. And then there's Priscilla Grimm from New York, a 50-year-old Antifa foot soldier, a real beaut. We don't know what she does for a living, but she was part of the Occupy Wall Street deal a few years back, and she also says she enjoys gazing at graffiti. Timothy Bildois is a teacher from Massachusetts. Hey, Timmy. We have Emma Bagosh is a dancer from Connecticut. A dancer. I wonder what kind of dance she practices. We're going to keep digging in on these people because the media won't. Usually we find out these anti-capitalists are rich kids whose parents pay for everything. Antifa's like the media's mistress. They don't want anybody knowing about her. But the media's relationship with Antifa needs to be investigated. Antifa sent the media a guide on how they should cover their riots. Ready? Don't say officer-involved shooting. It makes cops look like the good guy. We don't want that. Don't trust police crime stats. It fuels fear-mongering because facts can lead to fear. Don't say words like criminal, robber, or dangerous. Those words are dehumanizing. And don't publish mugshots because it'll pop up when someone's Googling your name. And always use the right pronouns. That actually is something they told the media to do. Since when do domestic terrorists have a PR team? They torch a police station and then tell you how to cover it, and the media listens? You won't hear the word Antifa anywhere other than Fox. Neither Democrat senator from Georgia has said anything about this. That's because every Democrat's a revolutionary at heart. They have a soft spot for these radicals. They romanticize radicals. They've been doing it since the 60s. Democrats admire Antifa's effort, their idealism, but they don't admit it. They won't even acknowledge Antifa exists. So they watch their militants do their dirty work, take swings at MAGA, burn down buildings and attack police, and then play word games with you.
Antifa's an idea, not an organization.
Oh, you got it.
Not militia.
That is true. There's violence across the whole country. Do you disavow the violence from Antifa that's happening in Portland right now? There's riots.
That's a myth.
We look at Antifa
as more of an ideology or a movement than an organization.
Antifa has become an international terrorist organization. They attack police, trying to stop construction of a government building, and are being driven by a wicked ideology. But the Democrats can't define what a woman is, so we're not shocked they can't define Antifa. What does the White House say about this? Joe Biden says he loves cops, says he hates violence.
Dozens of people were arrested protesting the so-called cop city. Is the president aware of this? And is the White House worried about this escalating?
Wait, say that again. What was the protest?
The protest was, it's a facility, a training facility that's being constructed.
I've not heard any discussions about this protest over the weekend, so we'd have to go back to the team and see where we are, where we're standing, and a response on that. This is the first time I'm hearing about this protest over the weekend.
Binder's never heard of it, folks. It wasn't in her binder. The binder doesn't have a myth section. Antifa's kind of like fentanyl. If the Democrats don't acknowledge it, it doesn't exist. Joe even talked to firefighters today. He didn't bother to mention the fires Antifa lit in Georgia. He didn't thank the brave men who put them out. Joe just repeated the same made-up story about how a lightning bolt hit a pond, traveled underground, and blew up his house.
When I was down doing the last show with Tim Russert, Meet the Press, the last show he had done, lightning struck in a pond behind my house, went up underneath conduit, caught fire underneath the floorboards of my house. And it was during the summer, air conditioning was on, smoke that thick all 3 stories. The reason I can show you that is because every piece of furniture had to be replaced because of the smoke. But guess what? My fire company was there to go in and save my wife, get her out, the cat, and my 67 Corvette.
Oh, at least the Corvette survived. Our nation's secrets are safe. After Antifa attacked a federal courthouse in Portland for 3 straight weeks, Biden never said a word, and then dropped half the charges once he took office. When rioters burned down cities across America after Floyd, Kamala bailed them out, including a convict who went on to murder somebody. If the rioters in Atlanta were wearing red hats, I think Joe would be taking Air Force One down to Georgia right now. The FBI would have a field office in a treehouse. The media would be camped out in front of the construction site 24/7. They'd be telling every Republican, condemn, condemn, condemn. They'd say there's a domestic terrorism problem in the GOP. They'd have hearings for months and try to pin it on who's ever leading for 2024. But none of that's happening because they're the left's muscle. The same guy who says police need more training doesn't blink an eye when a terrorist group torches a police training site.
We have to do better. Give law enforcement the real training they need. Call a fresh approach to recruit and how we recruit, how we hire, how we train.
You can't back the blue and back Antifa at the same time, even if Antifa is just an idea.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.